Hi, I'm Tim Zacharias with Cougar USA and your host of Building Value. Welcome to episode 2 of season 4, where we're showcasing the people and products behind the scenes of building operations and the impact they have on the community. So really excited about today's episode. We have a building and an operator and a chief engineer that really kind of embody what we're going for with this podcast. So Estevan Campos with Transwestern, the chief engineer at the Ion building, is going to be taking us through the building as well as talking about everything that's going on at the Ion and that impact to the community. So Estevan has really kind of decorated resume as far as buildings that he's been in, a lot of high rises in downtown Houston. So he brings a lot of experience and technical knowledge to the Ion, and you'll see that kind of in the behind the scenes portion of the tour. And the Ion itself is just a really cool building. And, you know, it's more than a building. It's an entire district of 12 blocks that is really going to be the heart of innovation in the city of Houston. And really that impact to the community is really cool. And as much as, you know, Estevan talks about the kind of technical or mechanical components of the building, you can really see kind of his passion for the mission of the Ion come through, talking about some of the companies that have launched through the Ion's ecosystem and kind of seen them from start to where they are now and being successful. So really cool building, really cool ecosystem. And, you know, like I said, just a really cool mission for the city of Houston to be that center and hub of innovation. So definitely hope you enjoy this episode and look forward to seeing you on the next one. On Building Value, we go behind the scenes of building operations to showcase the people and products that make buildings work and the value they bring to the community. I'm Tim Zacharias with Cougar USA. We are at the Ion Houston today. Got Estevan Campos with Transwestern. He's going to be giving us a front of the house tour and back of the house tour. Very excited about what we've got going on today. So Estevan, thanks for having us today. Really excited. Why don't we kind of walk and talk, and you can tell us a little bit about yourself and about the building itself.
Cool. Yeah. So the Ion, first, welcome to the Ion. The Ion was originally the Sears building.
Yeah.
It was built in 1939. So what we did is we had the building totally gutted, kept the original concrete structures, as you can tell by the columns here, and then we just went with the open concept and
yeah, because it didn't used to be an atrium, right? I mean,
Correct.
It was a showroom, a lot of different look in 1938, 39, and to come in and kind of open it up, but to keep some of the original architecture and, you know, even terrazzo floors, things like that, is really cool to kind of work that stuff in.
Yeah, so what they did is they completely gutted the building and added 2 floors and opened up the atrium with the skylight and opened up the whole building, added more windows, and yeah.
Yeah, it makes it like a really open feel, and, you know, having this kind of theater look here in the middle is pretty cool. Mm-hmm. But what else? I mean, so we're kind of on the first floor now. What all is available to the tenants of the Ion, and like who would typically be somebody that would come in and want an office here?
Okay, so the Ion it's a mixed use building, and what we say is it's a building like no other building.
Yeah.
We have office, we have retail, we have small startup companies, and just a little bit of everything, and it keeps us super busy. To start off with, the forum stairs. The forum stairs is used for tech talks and different conventions or different seminars, or, you know, pitch competitions that we have, where small startup companies come in and they, you know, pitch. And then throughout the weeks, we have events like how to perfect your pitch, and where the Ion staff helps small startup companies, you know, make their way.
That's cool.
From you know, wherever they started, to find investors, teach them how to sell their products, how to create their products. One of the best things, one of the best amenities that we have is the prototyping lab.
Yep.
And the
definitely want to check that out.
Yes, and the newly finished carbon printer lab. So that's set to open up this week, actually. And then as far as the retail side, we have Limbar, which is a restaurant owned by David Cordua. related to the old Churrasco's family.
Okay.
Then we have Common Bond, which is a bakery / coffee shop. And then we have Late August, which is headed up by Don Burrell. Don was a finalist on Top Chef, so we're excited to have that restaurant open up in later this month.
Nice.
And then we have a 20 tap homebrew tap room.
Yeah.
Say it's second draft, and
It's cool.
it's a pretty cool place. And then of course the investor studio, and NASA's taking up a little space there.
Yep.
We'll walk more, I guess, later on.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
All right. So this is the Ion District, and this is our model of what's to come. And we have it broken down in phases. So phase 1, of course, is the Ion, and the Ion parking garage. The parking garage is a 10-story parking garage that's set to open later this week. And give you an overview. The whole Ion District is funded and supported by Rice University, and they own 16 acres in this area. And the plan is to develop it and have a place where startup companies can come, where people can create their ideas and make it come
really
true.
Cool.
Yeah. So that's phase 1. Phase 2 is the parking lot across the street and to the east of us. So looking for private investors to get those started. And then phase 3 is farther out, about 2 blocks out on each side. And then phase 4 is right here. And then we have the future Ion District.
Yeah, that's really cool. And so once it's all complete, the idea is that this will be kind of a whole community of, kind of tech companies or startup companies that are, almost like an incubator type community. But it's all, one of the things that I thought was cool is that it's all street level. You're gonna have a lot of kind of outdoor amenities, and anybody that's used to seeing the freeways in Houston, seeing it underground like that is definitely different. So I mean, what's kind of the timeline for all of this, and how aggressive are they with the wanting to build it?
They said the timeline was a 10-year timeline, and that's what that's been the goal. So fingers crossed, we don't go, no hiccups. But you did hit on a good point that everything is above ground, unlike downtown where everything's underground and through the tunnels. The concept that they're going for is for everybody to get together above ground and walk from building to building. That's why the plaza looks the way it looks, and everything's going to interconnect one way or another. And to have a district that co-mingles with each other.
Right. Kind of intentionally built for that kind of tech incubator space. So is this building over here? Is that the Greentown Labs?
Actually, this is the Greentown. This is the old
rebuilt.
Greentown. Yeah, so that's the old Fiesta building.
Okay.
People are familiar with Midtown. Fiesta, Greentown Labs took over the Fiesta building, and they're on a 7-year lease. So after that they'll be moving somewhere else, and we'll be tearing that down and rebuilding it. So,
nice.
Yeah. So
that's really cool. So yeah, definitely it's something different for Houston and kind of Midtown in general to have kind of this master plan, 16 acres right near downtown. So very cool.
So here's the prototyping lab, and we have the different printers that they have going on.
Nice. Yeah, so the idea is with the prototyping lab that if they have an idea, they want to come in here and print something off, that they can use the 3D printers or any of the other kind of tools in here to create their...
Yeah, we have everything here. It's like an engineer's dream.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Because, I mean, literally, anytime we need anything, we come up here and they help us out. And, we help them out also, so.
Nice. So yeah, if you have a tool that you don't have, they can probably make it for you.
Yes.
So you have, I mean, are some of these some of the other sponsors that are in the space?
Yeah.
So you got Axiom, Space, Methodist, that's cool.
Yeah.
So this looks like a lot of kind of a electronic testing, soldering station.
Correct, it's the more electronic part of
that's cool.
Very
Circuit cool. This starts to look a little more familiar. Some of these pieces are in our panel shop too, little soldering and all kinds of testing equipment.
And here we have the big printers.
Love the wood smell in this room.
It just smells amazing.
It's cool. So is this like a big kind of automated cutting machine
Yes.
for the wood?
Yes.
That's cool. A lathe.
Like a lathe.
Yeah. A mill. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, and I mean, you name it, they build it. I mean, it's I've seen the smallest products come out of here, and then these huge, massive items where we have to take the doors down to get them out. And it's
Nice.
like, guys, y'all are killing me.
Yeah, that's cool.
There's another little toy.
Oh, you got a little robot there.
Yeah, the robot arm. There's another. And we have on display. So this is our carbon printer studio that's set to open later this week. Furniture should get here soon. So
This is cool.
yeah,
It's cool. You got the original flooring still in here with
Yes,
kind
sir.
of the, cutting edge technology.
Here we have the carbon printer studio that's set to open this week. And
cool.
yeah, again, headed up by Rice.
It's like kind of creating their own helmet
Yes.
out of carbon. That's
yes.
pretty slick. Yeah. Only equipment that I would have any sort of knowledge on would be up in the ceiling. Definitely not anything.
Correct. You and me both.
Not anything going on down here. This is way beyond. So, it's really cool to see like the prototyping lab and all of those things, but this is definitely an area where I think we're both a lot more familiar. So
We're more comfortable.
yeah, no, kind of, in the basements or in the mechanical rooms again. So kind of talk us through what you got going on here in the central plant.
Okay, so welcome to our central plant. Coolest thing about the plant, besides the chillers, of course, is the terrazzo flooring.
Yeah, definitely
we
a
came-
unique feature to see.
I don't
terrazzo
think
in
there's
there.
another central plant in Houston with terrazzo flooring.
No.
So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's very cool.
We kept it, polished it up. Really proud of this floor, believe it or not. And we have our chillers. We have 300-ton York YMC square chillers.
Yep,
So
very cool.
one runs at 300 tons. So
And the last tour that we did had the same chillers, and we got some comments that it was a little loud, but I think it's just the microphones because these things really are quiet for
yeah,
a chiller.
that's super quiet.
Yeah.
I mean,
For us to be able to sit here and have a conversation standing next to it is, I think a testament to that. So apologize if it's a little loud on the microphone.
yeah. And of course, we have drives on all our equipment. Everything has,
Yeah, so you've got the 3 chillers, and then you've got your 3 condenser water pumps going up to the roof for the cooling towers to reject that heat out. But really clean, really nicely laid out central plant. I think it's a good match for the rest of the building. To have such a nice central plant, everything nicely painted, labeled, and again the terrazzo floor is just really cool. Oh yeah, that's intense.
Yeah. So if you saw the screen down there,
Oh, yeah.
It's all Crestron-based system, and everything runs out of this room. This is the brains of the AV.
This
We
is
have our
cool.
biamps here, our Crestron here, and our amplifiers down here. And, we have the music inside the common areas, and then music outdoors as well.
All that runs
And
here.
it's all ran through here
Very cool.
with a control panel down in the forum stairs.
Okay. Yeah, I saw a whole other panel system down there, or mixer and everything. So yeah, this is pretty impressive. So this is the booster system supplying all the water to the building and to the cooling tower to make up water for that. So we've got one pump running at 77%, about 7 gallons a minute. So it's just cruising along, keeping the building pressurized. And so out of the 3 pumps, you only have one running at just under 80%. So
Yeah, and
not using a whole lot of energy to do it.
Yep, and it's a great system. This is the third building that I've been at that we actually have a Cougar
Nice.
system, this exact same package. And
We
it's,
appreciate the repeat business.
yeah.
That's great.
It just works. You know, you got to stick with what works. And the cool thing about the building here is not a lot of buildings have two separate tanks. We have a
Yep.
separate tank for our domestic water and a tank for our fire water. So,
Yep. So this is it's a unique code in the city of Houston to require the house tank or the brake tank for the domestic side, right? So you have to have that air gap and the backflow prevention for the booster pumps for the domestic. But you know, that's specific to Houston. Most people are probably used to seeing the fire tank having the fire water storage for the fire protection and then having the pump off of it. So yeah, it is definitely cool to have two separate tanks and all of that for
two separate tanks and two separate feeds.
Yes.
Which is
Okay,
great.
so you have two
we
separate feeds, too.
Yeah, we
Nice.
have an 8-inch fire line and a 4-inch domestic water line.
Very nice. Yeah. Imagine when the building was built that it did not have those feeds that size coming in. So maybe a few things maybe have changed in the building code since the late 30s and the 1900s. So that's really cool. So you got up on top there's some float valves, the clay valves up there that are maintaining the level, and then we've got the level control panels there in case it overflows. Then we can give you that alarm and shut it off and prevent it from overflowing everywhere. But so the fire pump is hopefully only going to run when you guys do your testing and everything. But what remember we talked a little bit. You had something unique about your fire protection system out on the loading dock.
We have our pre-action system here. And the cool thing is we have our nitrogen generator. A lot of buildings are installing these to protect the fire lines that are typically filled with air, right?
Okay.
And the nitrogen generator keeps everything from corroding.
Right.
And it works.
Yeah, and so this would be like when we go out on the loading dock, there's exposed pipe outside, and even though we're in Houston, we've had a couple of freezes, and parking garages, other places where they don't have this type of system, that water in that line freeze, burst, cause a lot of issues. With this setup, you're not going to have that problem, right?
Correct.
So yeah, it's cool. So it's essentially a dry pipe, and then if there were an issue, then it would just get filled with water and have no issues. Right? I think it's really interesting that our set point is just shy of 70 psi. But we do have a pressure reducing valve station. So, typically you're trying to avoid having any pressure in the system that's over 80 psi. So if we're only generating 70 psi, like why would we need a PRV station? But it's, as you said, it's feeding the basement.
Correct.
So, we go down in the building, we're gonna have an increase in pressure. So just thought it was interesting to have a PRV station when our booster pressure was less than 80. So don't typically see that, but definitely going down into the basement can build more pressure, so cool to see that. Nice. So now up on the 4th floor. So this used to be the roof,
Correct.
right? So this was when they redid the building. You said they built up and out, right?
Correct. And you can see where they expanded it further south, and of course the new columns as opposed to the columns we saw originally.
Yep. Yeah, so this is all, instead of concrete beams going up, this is more steel structure, it looks like.
Yes, sir.
Going up. So we would, this would have been the original roof,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And so this space is going to be eventually, or it is already leased out, it's just not built out, correct? Yeah.
Yes.
So now kind of off the balcony of the 4th floor, what would have been the original roof. So what is kind of the idea with this space out here?
So the idea with this space is each tenant that leases that part of the space the balcony will actually be included in it, and they'll be able to come out and we've had different events up here also, and it's a hit.
Yeah,
People love
this is
it.
a really cool space.
You got a great view of downtown, and
I think like for a lot of people when they think about downtown Houston, they think about it, at least I know I do, like from kind of looking down from the west, like down Memorial, down Buffalo Bayou, and so it's a unique view to look at it, kind of here from the south and see downtown from this way. And that's the new parking garage over there.
For the district.
And then, yeah, so this is cool. So you got the chill water coming down or coming up from the central plant and being fed through the air handler, and that's feeding all of that kind of exposed ductwork that we saw to maintain the temperature throughout the space. So it's cool.
Yep.
It's really
we have
clean.
UV lights in all of them. So
Okay, nice. Very cool. Fanciest.
I was going to say we could do the stairwell. I forgot about the stairwell.
Yeah, this is the fanciest stairwell I think I've seen.
So here you have our monumental stairwell. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a long way down.
It's a long way
It's about as close
down.
as you're going to get me to it.
And it goes all the way down to the basement. Tenants like it because it's the main path of travel for tenants. They'd rather take the stairs than the elevator.
Sure.
It's a small, mid-rise building, so it's 5 floors isn't anything. So you want to see the bees?
Sure. It's
And the
definitely
rest-
unique.
The rest of the
So this is definitely something unique on the roof of a commercial building here.
Yeah, luckily we met the threshold as far as height to have our own little bee colony. And yeah, we have honey that we give to the tenants and
Yeah, that's cool.
special guests. So when you leave, I'll make sure to give you a jar.
That's awesome. I'm sure that, there's tons of, in the courtyard area, there's lots of flowers,
Yes.
everything that they can
Yes.
make their way down to and get back, but that's pretty cool. It's about as close as I want to get to the bees too.
Fine, ain't gonna hurt you. One thing they do is they'll do like a flyby. Like if they're gonna sting you,
Oh, really?
You'll know. We had
Okay.
like a whole little bee course on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you get buzzed,
Yeah,
it's
it's a
like
sign.
Maverick
Yeah.
and Goose giving you a warning.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're kind of looking, is this southeast here? Is that, I got my directions right? So you got 59 going across. I mean, going back to the model, I mean, that's going to go underground as part of this whole plan.
That's the plan.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's like what is the joke? Like keep Houston under construction, right? I think like this whole downtown freeway system is getting rerouted over like the next 20 years. So like Kurtz Elevated is going away, all these other things. But to see that go underground is going to be pretty incredible. Like the butcher block table on wheels. We've got similar setups in our shop, but our tops are made out of 9-foot solid core door slabs that are left over from our build out. So there you go. So you got the kind of front end of the BAS there showing you what's going on in Central Plant.
Yes, sir. And then our lighting system, it's a Lutron lighting system.
Okay. So you got to control the whole building's lighting system from here.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. Very cool.
And the cool thing I wanted to show you is some of the leftover
yeah,
artifacts from the old building.
Yes.
So
This is cool. So this is 1930s HVAC technology and
Yes,
building technology
yes, sir.
kind of preserved. That's really cool.
So we're happy we're able to have these on display in our office.
So this is like an instrumentation panel.
Yeah, it's an old pneumatic system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Very cool.
And then
Still
we
see
have-
a little bit of pneumatic controls out there, but
Yeah.
not much. Most of it's gone
Yeah,
electronic.
yeah.
Some old pressure switches.
Yeah, mercury switches.
Mercury switches.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know if you can zoom in, but there's mercury in the switch, and that's, as it moves, it's making contact to open and close the switch. It's really, so kind of, to that point, can you talk a little bit about some of the other buildings that you've worked in and
Yeah,
maybe what makes the Ion different?
I've worked at 5 Post Oak. That's pretty much the building I grew up at. And from there, I transferred over to the Houston Center.
Okay.
I was at 4 Houston Center for a couple years. And then from there, moved over to Bank of America, the old Bank of America Center, 700 Louisiana, which was
Very cool building.
was a cool building in its own, and that plant there is awesome as well. Really liked working there. It was great. Then from there, I went to 1000 Main, which is weird because you go from a area or from a building that has a massive central plant to a building that's just gets its chilled water from the district.
Right, definitely
just
different.
one chill water pump with a heat exchanger, and it's different. So
Absolutely.
I was when I got transferred over to this project, I was kind of glad because it had a central plant.
Right.
And for a building this size, I was surprised that.
Yeah, to have a full water-cooled central plant.
Yeah. So been around a couple buildings, and what makes the Ion different is that it's not just office with some cafeterias or anything. It's a busy building.
Absolutely.
Not only do we deal with the office tenants on the on the upper floors, we deal with the small startup companies that, we try to keep everybody happy and try to, put the tenants first. And that's our goal, is make sure when the tenants come in here, they have a good experience, and not just tenants, visitors as well during our events, and that they have a good experience and they walk away happy and wanting to come back. It's a circle, the circle of life for
the
property
building.
manager, for the building.
Absolutely.
Property management. So
And I mean, it is definitely unique to see the combination. I mean, there's mixed use kind of retail and office out there a lot, but to mix in the startup kind of culture, the incubator, the maker lab, all the prototyping lab, kind of that exhibition space, or the forum, I guess is what you call it, the stairs, with the pitch competitions, everything's just really cool. So, what else do you feel like is unique about the Ion, or maybe talk a little bit about the kind of the activation festival that's coming up?
Yeah. So, what's unique about the Ion is anybody can come in, and I mean, you have a small app that you want to make. I've seen there's what's his name? A guy named Destin, and he'll probably watch this. I'll probably send this over to him. But Destin started with a small little app, and he would spend so much time in the building. And now he's grown so much to where he's officing in Austin. And,
oh, that's cool.
Oh, the dude, he'll come by every now and then, and it's cool to see it work, see the building work, and get people to where they need to go and have their ideas come true. Working Mother is another one, another small startup that I got to see from the beginning, and cool. She's done her pitches, and it's working for her. So
awesome.
That's great. So those, some of the smaller companies, but the district itself is going to be something that you can't. I mean, it's unimaginable right now. Where I can't.
It's going to be very interesting because, I think when you think about in general tech startups, or you think Silicon Valley, that's kind of where everybody thinks everything's happening. But there's a lot going on in Texas and in the Austin area, like you mentioned. But definitely here in Houston, we've been Space City for a long time, and a lot of innovation come out of here. So it's cool to have this kind of incubator in place for it all to happen.
Yep.
Estevan, really appreciate you having us out today and showing us everything that the Ion's about, and taking us behind the scenes a little bit for what it takes to make it happen. And definitely appreciate what y'all are doing and what you're doing for the community of Houston.
Thank you, man. Thank you for coming by.
Awesome. Thank you, sir.